Splendid. Hello everyone. Today we have some very exciting news that I can't wait to share with you. There are several points on our agenda today. You see them up in the corner. First of all, I'll inform you about the progress on our Tetris game that we are making inside of Rust. I made several changes while off stream, and I certainly want to give you a small update on those. Then we'll go over some very exciting news coming to electricity. Because some of you already know there have been quite some commits that will change electricity as we know it. Afterwards, hopefully we can also make some progress on Tetris itself on the stream. We'll see how that will go. And afterwards, at the end, there's another surprise I want to share with you. Because even though I was working on Tetris, there's also another secret project I've been working on. As for the channel itself, I haven't been live streaming in a bit. I was busy a bit IRL, but now that is taken care of and I have more time on my hand. But also the last stream was a bit of a downer, not gonna lie. Like, we debugged Tetris for 2 hours and it wasn't too interesting for myself and not for you guys as well. So hopefully going forward, I would like to provide, like with every stream, at least a bit of new content, maybe something interesting. But that would also mean that I won't stream every single day. Alright. And thanks for everyone already in the chat. Exciting news, you say. Exactly, John Hagen. And the one and only Swift Coyote also. Big exciting. Gotta get the Aux 2 branch. Yes, indeed. The commits that we talked about are live as we speak on staging, if you're interested in checking that one out. So, the first point is a small update on Tetris. When we left off the last time, we had this setup and it was already working quite good. We had falling pieces, we can move around. And then we also implemented the row completion, which was a bit buggy given that our clock speed, some bits were determined by the update speed of electricity and some were just like flat times, which made it very difficult to debug. But I figured that one out. But I also scrapped a big chunk of all of this. Because I was talking before to you, we still wanted to figure out rotation, right? And with this setup, it's not that easy, unfortunately. So I took the majority of those components, added a new active memory, and made this which is quite a lot bigger. So our screen increased in size. And this is roughly, I think, 16,000 components. Somewhere around that benchmark. And it's even bigger. I could add 6 more rows on top. They are all connected, but I just don't have them active in the moment because, as you see, as soon as we look around, the frame rates just go into the basement. They are not good. That's the same reason why the display is on this side. So when we are looking over here, the game doesn't need to render everything behind it. The FPS is splendid. I would say it's the opposite of splendid, but yeah. So yeah, technically we could have 6 more rows. As you see, there are even some connections to the invisible components, but they are not there for the frame rate. most excitingly, of course, is that we have all the same functionality and even more. So we can start the game. That's what I thought. Let's see, maybe it wasn't reset. There you go. So we have the falling pieces and we can move them freely around all across the screen. We have the detection on the right and the left, so you won't go off screen. And as before, as soon as it falls down, we have that. And if you remember the old one, we could only move left and right once per update. So it would move down, then either left and right, down, left and right again. And now we can just freely move them around, which might cause some problems in some parts, but that's okay. And collision with other fallen pieces also works, as you see. Now that was the first part. The second part, or like why we changed all of this, was these buttons. So you see, these four represent the piece that was falling down, right? Meaning if we change this one, something like this, our piece is also changed. And if you mentally can put these pieces together, then you would think, oh, now we just need to change these buttons every time a new piece shall be spawned, and we automatically have all the different pieces. And now it's bugging out, oh well. But the good thing is, we can also adjust those things in real time. Meaning, we can also have rotation. We just press the rotation, these switches get altered. It's the same shape, but at a different angle, rotated by 90 degrees. Nice. Exactly, that Skipper. Thanks for joining in. So this offers us a lot more opportunities to have different things. And as you can imagine, we can also easily implement the function where you have a saved piece, right? In some Tetris games you see, oh, this is the next piece that is falling down, and then you can press a button to switch them up. And we just take whatever this thing is saved as and change it with the active piece, so they get changed instantaneously. And all of that functionally was simply just not possible with the old setup. So that's where the majority of my time went into. Tetris-wise, that is, at least to say. I also cleaned up a lot of things and added these signs. So it should be a lot more easy to follow for you guys. So say, oh, I want to reset the whole screen, and beforehand I was always saying, oh, now we want to reset the screen, and then I was pressing the button, and then now we put the piece to the left, which, you know, is nice when I tell you, and some of you might remember, but that way you can always see, that's what he's doing. As well, for the collision detection, we have these flags, which I think are very nice to kind of just get along and see how things are progressing. And then coming from here, I worked on this one as recently as 2 days ago. And as you can see, these are the very same lights or switches that we just saw over there. And what this part is doing is it's kind of an encoder. So basically we have 3-bit, these 3 switches that tell the encoder what piece we want, and these 2 bits that tell the encoder what direction we want. So now we have the J, right? And we say, oh, we want to have another rotation, like this one, this rotation or that. Then we're like, oh no, but we wanted another piece. And now we have this this piece in every single direction as well. And as you can imagine, if we now try to put these things together, we should have different pieces and rotation working. So that will be very exciting once we have all of that set up, because then we can actually lay down some very intricate shapes and try to play Tetris for once and not just have one falling piece over and over again. So that will be something we might get to do today. Any questions so far? Quite a lot of things that we've changed. Beforehand, a lot of it happened on stream, but now I shifted at least the more redundant and less exciting parts to be off stream. Now we see everything working nice and neatly. There are still some bugs we need to iron out at some point. But as long as it's working like 95% of the time, I'm not bothering with them too much unless it's a bug that will bite us in the arse later down the line. So yeah, those are all the changes towards Tetris itself. And I think then we can move over to the next segment, where I'll just be talking a bit through the recent changes in electricity. So let's change the screen. Now, some of you might have seen either my news, the Shadow Frags news, Rustified, or wherever you watch your news for Rust. Maybe you've been like on our Discord. Everything, everybody is so excited for the changes. It's quite amazing that they are like actually happening. So, most importantly, probably of all, are these things, where the power consumption on many components will be gone completely. This includes all the logic gates, splitters, root combiner, and branches, and as of late also the button. So just imagine my circuits from before, my calculator or now Tetris, and it's all just logic gates. And I put in like 4000 power. Now the same thing will be possible with 100 power maybe. And you can obviously take that example and scale it down. So everybody in their clan, or maybe even solos, they just have a small battery with 15 output, but still they can compute huge logic things because everything is not draining power anymore. Which it's so hard to grasp what will be possible, but I'm sure we will explore that, or all of that, very soon. Running the calculator off a small battery and a generator. Yes. And then also there are changes towards the draining of the batteries with the active usage. So beforehand, a lot of things were quite buggy and not calculated correctly. And hopefully after this update, or maybe the one after, all of them are gone and we can calculate things a bit more nice. And it's not like, oh yeah, that's what it's supposed to do, but turns out no, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So very awesome work that gets put in there as well. Going along with the changes for all of the consumption, there are just in total many fixes to electricity and also some features added. For example, the entity snapping, which is something that we ask for so long, right? For anybody who kind of did electricity for 3 seconds and they want to have things neatly organized and not just blasted at the wall. Everybody was saying we need something like this to make things look nice. And at least for the components themselves, it's now possible. It's, as we speak, actually on the staging branch, so everyone who wants to check it out already can do so. And maybe find even some bugs along the way that the developers then can fix until the next Vibes update. So these are probably the biggest changes incoming. But I also most likely forgot a few of them. So if you are interested in checking more of them out, either come on the Restricity Discord, where we are just talking 24/7 since Tuesday over all of these changes, or have a look at the commits or face punch yourself. That's always an option as well. And then again, once things progress a bit further, hopefully there will be another news coming from myself, keeping you in the loop with all things electrical. Any addition from your side? And I feel like it's also so awesome that we get all the likes on these commits, just showing how much we really appreciate the work going into there. Because it wasn't just they did the thing, they actually came in, asked, oh, we would like to change these things, are you okay with that, and how should we go about it? And we had an actual dialogue, which is so awesome to think about. And it came a bit out of nowhere, so everybody was surprised. TLDR, we are very glad with how the last week turned out, and very excited going forward. So, just taking a sip. Good patch incoming. Yes, yes indeed, Sean. And hello. Thanks for checking in. So those were the electric news, at least some of them. So if you've not seen them before, now you did. Therefore, I'd say we move on to the next point on the agenda and do a little bit of work on the Tetris. Of course, you first need to work a bit until you get a reward, right? So let's work a little bit and then we shall see the surprise at the end. So, as said before, we now want to combine this encoder for the different pieces with the main Tetris. Meaning we need to find some way of connecting both of them together. Therefore, we shall go into our Splendid editor. So this is Tetris itself. And over here we have the piece encoder. Let's actually rename it. And now we need to bring it over. And I think this is all just a bit too messy. So where are the OR gates? There. Take all of them, rotate them by 180 and just put them neatly on this wall. Something like this. Okay. And I also need to update a bit of the placement. Of course, now it's a bit hard to track which one is which. So that's a corner piece. And turns out there are quite some different variations on how to do the Tetris pieces. They all have actual terms, like there's left-handed and right-handed, or left and right orientated pieces. And depending on which one you use, they are all mirrored. Same thing with rotation. There are so many rules one could do, but some games just don't do them. For now, I'm mostly just settled on what's the easiest to do. Okay. So going forward, those should be a bit more easy to work with. And then we'll need to select all the pieces that we actually want to copy over. So, piece encoder. Put that one somewhere like here. I guess for now we can just copy the switches over and then remove them if need be. So that's those, and I guess it's actually pretty much every single component as well, but they are not organized. Oh well. Yeah, and then the display, we obviously don't need that part. Gonna be lurking while I edit. Sounds good, sounds good. Still can't wait for your edit as well, so good luck with that. And thanks for checking in. Okay, so hit Control C and move over to here. Yeah, and it's also getting quite laggy inside of here, but the good thing is we can always just disable parts, which should give us a good frame rate. So we don't need the static memory in the moment, as well as the in-between. Yeah, this summarizes my life pretty good in the last few weeks. Every time I want to edit something, it's just waiting. Okay, and okay, so already a bit better now with the frame rate, and the cells, let's remove those as well, because they have the most components. While waiting, I hope that everybody had a good week. I know I for sure did, with all the updates and very exciting news. And above all else, it's Friday, so a full weekend ahead. So, and I thought of putting it somewhere like here. And then snap it to the wall. That does look good to me. And put in some space in between, so afterwards we can have some logic with memory cells going. And then we obviously need to double this, as we also need to have the encoder for the next incoming piece. So. And I think if we now copy and paste it, yes, that's what we want to see. Object was copied, because then it's actually considered part of this building and we should be able to edit it. So let's see if everything got copied correctly. That does look good. Yeah. Perfect. Oh. Yeah, okay, so that's one thing. The rotation isn't perfect. Let's see if we can adjust that just a little bit. Maybe something like this. That's a bit too much. Almost. Nice. Now it's aligned with the wall. Oh man, if you would only know what fireworks I got to experience the last few days, like, I don't know if any of you know Silver Fox, but he is pretty much the best fireworks guy that I know of in all of Rust. And he is setting up quite the spectacle every single day we play. So, get some power. Was he cheating with the Huber tool? No, he was actually not, no. But making smart use of the brick no, it's actually the brick low wall, right? This one. And then in brick, course, if you... Yeah, okay, so almost there. Grade 2. You can actually place fireworks on this slope, which is so amazing. It's one of the rare instances where you can actually place down fireworks on a slope. Yes, yes it is. Okay. And now, instead of taking the input from our switches, we want to have the inputs be taken from our encoder. Never knew that it sounds lit exactly just as the fireworks. Even more angle options, yes, yes. And the way he does his firework patterns and the repetition, it's very beautiful. So let's just cheat a little bit, and instead of going back and forth with the wires, we just take the OR switches and move them over. Pivot, oops. Oh, there's a pivot. We need to connect them to those things, yes. And while doing so, let's just disable this wall. Okay. And take those over here as well. And hopefully now we can trace which one is supposed to go where. Of course, I could not remember. But actually it's super easy. Those AND switches are just laid out the very same way that these things are. Just that they are mirrored, I think. Yes, okay. So that shouldn't be a problem. So disconnect all the old ones. And these. And then connect the new ones. As easy as that. Oh, yeah, and the one in the middle is actually powered all the time, because every single piece, at least pieces that I used, all utilize the middle one. So that one is always on. And I would assume that we... probably need to change the power levels quite a bit. That makes me think. Probably before I route them over here, I need to boost them with some additional power, because as they are in the moment, they would only provide 1 to 4 rust watts, which obviously isn't enough to power this whole array. So let's quickly set up this. Let's peek what was the original amount they needed. I set them to 500, so roughly about there. Okay. And hopefully things like this will be less common in the future, because, well, the whole idea of doing this is just providing more power, but if all logic gates don't drain any power, well, we don't need to boost them in the first place, right? And I've been using quite a lot of these power boosters. For example, in the calculator, right after every single addition. It wouldn't make sense to have just like massive amounts of power flowing through, because there are multiple directions one bit could actually be on or off. So therefore it's just easier to have them running with the minimum power and then boost them afterwards. But that way it will be irrelevant. So, and we don't need those either. Perfect. And then power. Let's make it look a bit more pretty. And straighten everything. Looking good. Okay. So, instead of going directly into them, we boost them up beforehand. So, remove those. Silver folks, hello, hello. We were just talking about you actually. And how wonderful, or shall I say splendid, your fireworks are. So, oops. Oh, that one's wrong. As I said before, the middle one is actually not needed. I will just leave it in there for now. If for some interesting reason I might change that up in the future, where I use a different layout for all the pieces. Because that's something I also decided on now. It's the simplest layout, but when doing these things actually, as you can see, we have two additional ones that we just don't use in the moment. But I'll just leave them in there for now, if we change our minds. Oh, nice. Glad you like it. Oh, of course, they are very gorgeous. I was yesterday I was quite surprised that you had the rock actually, where you would always go to watch the fireworks. That was the first time I heard of the rock for that. So let's group them together and say power boost. Something along those lines. And make them the child object. Because now we can just move them up here and have an easier time connecting. We got a new record on the dance mate. What? No way. 436? Yo, that's crazy. I might need to change the timers then. Also, don't spoil too much. It might be connected to the last point on the agenda. The surprise. But no worries. So, let's get rid of the switches. We don't need those anymore. And now it is as easy as connecting those, but remember they are mirrored. At least that's what I tell myself now, and then in game we find out, well, they weren't mirrored to begin with. That happened quite a lot to me. Where I was thinking I was doing the smart thing, but then turns out it wasn't the smart thing. That's wild. Whoops, nah, don't worry. But to see it in person or on stream is still different than just talking about it. So we have the power boost. And I guess we just put it next to it, even though that's quite ugly. I'll figure something out later down the line. For now... Oops, that was not what I meant to do. Let's put it in here. And grab those two. That's what I wanted. Put them back up there. So that they are roughly behind here. Good. So, in theory, power is connected, the encoder, we have the boosted into here. So maybe, just maybe, it will work. Meaning we'll just write the new update and see how it is in game. It should be enough to just have the cells, right? Oh no, I need the in between as well, because that's what connects to the display. There you go. So now we have that. Let's go to our builder and say, right. Okay. That should be the new update, so let's delete the old one, otherwise my server is like, oh, there's so many entities. Please don't do any more work for me. And now we get to witness once again the spectacle that is loading and deleting these things. That's wild looking. Yes, it is. Especially because first the walls get all like deleted and then the electricity afterwards. So now it's just bare bones. But it takes so long. But I mean, that's just down to my hardware and how the threshold in the plugin is set. Good things take time. Yeah, that's what I tell myself as well. But I'm still glad on the progress that... Because there was something I mentioned early on stream at some point where we had the old system over here for the active memory with the memory cells. And I streamed and then I wanted to go to bed, but I was like, wait, if I do it with the idea that I just like threw away because I felt it was unfeasible. But at that point I was like, no, if I change something about it, it might be feasible, an even better idea. So it wasn't the easiest solution, and it's more component intensive, but it offers way more functionality. You're inspired to try more electrical projects in Rust. I don't know if it's possible, but I'm going to try to make Snake in Rust. Oh, that's awesome. And Landon Mitchell, thanks for coming by. That certainly sounds awesome. It's a project that I myself have considered doing, and it's like on my list. And it's probably not that easy to do. I'm not sure how much experience you have yourself with electricity, but a good watch for that is certainly like Mad Bad Wings. I don't know if you know him. He's doing like the same thing I do, just in Minecraft, and he was like a good inspiration for myself on kind of how to frame the videos, and even for the Tetris one over here, I basically do the same in a way as he did in Minecraft. So just watching his videos was a good exercise for the thought process behind these things. So that's, I guess, something you could give a watch if you want to work on that. So maybe if we press this button. Okay, this one, wait. Was that on to begin with? No. Okay, so it's something else. Let's reset it. This one is on. How oh, I know what the problem is. We haven't connected our supply over here. So we need to get power from somewhere. And that should be enough, yes. And now we have this, and as I said, the middle should just always be powered. Which one is it? I thought it was this one, but okay, yeah, it's not. Phil hit himself out of confusion. Okay, so now they have power. Something still isn't working. Let's investigate. It's like watching a magic show. Got no clue what's happening, but it looks cool. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I try to make it more approachable, you know, with like the signs, and then if somebody has a question, like I'll try to answer them as best as I could, but these things like blow out of proportion so easily. So at some point it's just so hard to follow what's actually happening. Okay, the problem isn't that they don't have enough. Okay, that's good. Let's get this one and have it on all the time. So this is our X input. And our piece is also there. So at some point those should cross, which we see over here. And they should activate some lines back here. So this one, actually the two, that one. And at some point the X will cross with the Y. But does that actually happen? Oh, I should look at the input over here. Ah, I think I found the problem. Those should be like 1 or something in the moment. So let's do it manual for now. So this way. Wait, which one is the clear button? That's just the clear button for that. And for the other one. Okay, so hopefully our counters are now. There you go. At 0. Let's put them. 0 should actually be fine. Put this one on as well. Yes! Let's go! There it is. Alright. I love your stuff. Glad to catch you live, Dean. Hello, hello. Glad you're here to catch me live. And haters, everybody takes notes. Yes, exactly. Thanks for checking in as well. Also, hello, Finn, who says hi. A splendid hello to you. Okay, so this problem is figured out. And then if we say move the piece down, 1, 3. Okay, that piece is moving down as well. Can we move it left? Yeah, so that's okay. Good. More importantly is if we can change the rotation. Yes. Okay, so we have confirmed it can be working. Now we only need to get it working in the game environment. So when it's actually running. That has reset everything. And let's push it. Yes! Let's go. Okay, so now we have that one implemented, and I absolutely need to change the timers because I'll do it over and over again in the editor. What if they ever add pistons or more conditional components like XOR? Pistons, so it's like actually physically interactable? Or what do you mean with that? OMG. Yes, I know. Okay, so yeah, before I speak any further, let's change the duration for the timers. So I don't get annoyed by that anymore. 2.5. Okay. So. Wait a sec. Oh yeah. I'm so stupid. I was like, wait, why don't the pieces don't get saved? Yeah, well, maybe that is because we didn't copy and paste the static memory. Could it be that way? Maybe. So, what we want to do now, we have the encoder hooked up, and if we change these switches, we can change the rotation of the piece. And we would like to have just some simple buttons, or like timers actually, to be pressable and do that for us. So we don't need to press them manually. And also they are hooked up as just a 2-bit representation. So we need to find another way so we can loop, where we just say, okay, rotate left, then it's this one. Rotate left again, then it's that one. And if we rotate right, it just goes the other way. So that is something we need to figure out, and I myself haven't figured out so far. And where's the music? I mean, like, they could add pushable blocks and pistons, so they activate, they can push them, and maybe they could add on, on pressure pads too. Sounds interesting. And I don't want to have brick, but brutalist. Okay. What we want is some kind of 2 memory cell setup that we kind of add and subtract on. So one would be subtraction and one would be addition, which in the sense of the game would mean rotate left and rotate right. Because we want to have 4 different outcomes depending on, depending on what orientation, like have the piece oriented to the left, up, right and down. Something along these lines. And then get the different cases going. So one would be where both of them are off. Of course, if we think of them in terms of binary, a memory cell would either be like on or off, 0 or 1. So if both are 0, we have the first case, which would be this one. Then, how do we orientate them? Let's just do them the same way. So this is the lower bit. So if this one is 1 and this one is 0, that would be 1 in binary. Then we have 0 from this one and 1 from here. I'm a bit stupid. This one needs to be over here. And then lastly, if both of them are 1, we have 3 in binary. And we can do surprisingly easy in adder with just memory cells. All we need to do is hook up the inverted output into the toggle of the next one. Because, my bad, this one is the lowest one. So from here into this one. Because what it does is always toggle the last one. So it's 0, then 1. And then it goes back to 0. And as soon as it goes back to 0, the next one will be toggled, which basically just mimics incrementation in binary. Now we can do something like this, but the bigger problem is that we want to have it in both directions. Which makes it more complicated, to say the least. And that's kind of something I haven't figured out myself. So I guess I'll have to do it live now. Or well, I was messing around with it half a year ago or something. And actually not sure if I figured it out then. So this works very nicely. And then subtraction the other way around kind of would work in the same sense, just that we toggle the next one every time this one goes on, I think. Yeah, there you go. So that's the other way around. The only problem stems now from the problem that we can't have both active at the very same time. Because if we just do that, it will just do very weird things. Yeah. So let's make them conditional. Only when one of them is active. I don't know if it's a good idea, but you can store X and Y values of the display blocks, so if you need to rotate the piece, you can multiply the X and Y. Oh, I see what you mean. So rotation would just be that you have the scale inverted. That's pretty smart. I never thought about that way. It should certainly be possible, and it's a very good idea. I'm just thinking if it would make any difference whatsoever in terms of complexity and component count. It might. So what happens if we do it that way? That's the big question. Either it works out of the box, or it doesn't work at all. Yeah, okay, so that's not working. We could technically also just have a shift register with 4 different cases, but I thought maybe we could do something like this. I guess what it comes down to is actually just the delay on here. So let's first change this one, or like the outputs, because the power out always has higher priority. Maybe this will already do a bit better. Ever so slightly. Okay. What if we just add some delay in between? Okay. I mean, it does flicker, yes. But it does the thing that we want it to have. Nice. Okay. Big question, can we reduce the delay without any problems? No. Seems like that's already the sweet spot, with 3 additional components as a delay. Cool. So now we want to copy this one over to the other side. And probably even do it in the editor. Because in the everything is neatly organized, and if we do it in here and then put it back in the editor, all the organization and parroting would be lost. So let me put this one on my other monitor. And bring up chat in front, so I won't miss any of your messages. And then we want to create the same circuit over here and replace these guys. And as always, if you have any questions at any time, just feel free to ask. Let's begin once again with the memory cells. And we just need a few branches. Oh wait, do we actually? Because yeah, the branches that we had before are actually all in here, meaning we only need 2. Something like this. And then the end switches. Now where do I put them? Guess just off to the side. Then afterwards we said... No, it's actually in front of here. The delay. So let's line them up. Just like this. And then we want to copy them once over for both directions. this should be roughly the same circuit that we just laid out. Okay. Now we can make it look a little bit more pretty. And it's, as you see, I put in quite a good amount of time just to have all of the things neatly looking. And obviously the more things I add, the more components I can have or make looking nice, and all of that takes sometimes quite a lot of time. Which is also one reason that I stopped doing everything on the live stream, because I noticed that when I'm live, you know, I want to make progress, right? It's not very interesting if nothing is happening for an hour and there's nothing to be achieved because things just take so long. So I tried to rush some things, and instead of doing them right, I just did them to have them work. Which obviously isn't the best solution and is more work in the long run. But for example, for this circuit, I was fairly confident that I can figure it out on stream, because it's not that big compared to the other ones. Okay. Now they look all fancy and so on. And we just want to have a few more buttons for the rotation. An example of the variables it was talking about before, if the middle of the graph is 0, and the blocks are at x equals to 2 and x 3, you want to have a yeah, exactly. Can I demonstrate to the others what you're talking about? I think I might be able to. Yeah, there you go. So what Landon is saying, if we just have the scale, for example on this component, as well as the piece that it would also apply to, and just have the x changed in a way, then, well, now it's upside down. And we can do something similar quite easily with the pieces, if we just change the way the grid recognizes the pieces. Okay. And I mean, obviously these are floating in the air, and that's certainly not their final appearance, but just to make it easier to iterate. and push out a new version. They are doing that for the moment. 15 should be enough. So lastly, we now connect those to these inputs. And then we are ready for the next write or new version to be put on in game. If you were to do that, you would also have to add the difference of y and 0 times 2. For example, if you rotate a graph that is at y2, you have to add yx2, so you would add two values. I'm not too sure what you mean. I guess you mean if you like switch the things around, you might also need to change the index that it's like shown at. So, that might be a bit too close. Okay, and let's delete this. Okay, what are your suggestions, or like what do you think? Will rotation work out of the box, or will there be problems with it? Vote now as long as we are still deleting all of this. $1,005%, no issues. Alright, somebody is very confident. With this one, I'm also more confident with as with the other changes. Because it wasn't too much. As for the computer crashing, that's a 50-50. Yo, don't jinx it. Yesterday I had a blue screen out of nowhere. And I was doing something in Rust Edit for the news. Like trying to set up a station, and all the progress was lost. Luckily it was only like work of half an hour to 40 minutes, but it still wasn't nice. If a graph was at y2 and you flip it 90 degrees, that the y would go to yes. Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's probably not a problem I would run into just by the way I would do the things. But yeah, I would solve the stated problem from you indirectly. Nah, nothing works right away, even if it's all connected. Okay, we have a doubter. So let's see. One thing that's very beautiful to look at, you just place yourself over here and watch the connections be made in real time. I said make the connections in real time. Ah, there you go. Oh, I think even better it looks over here. Never mind. Over here, because they are colored. Some nice pinks, and yellows and blues. And now it just looks like a painting. Okay. So, we have this set up. They have enough power. So let's see. What if we hit activate? Okay. It's the same thing that we had before with the piece not showing up the first time we do it. But then the last time that we looked around, it was working. Is it once again with the counters that they are just like pasted in the wrong way? No. They are at 0, which means that this one is on, yes. That doesn't look good. What if we spawn in the piece manually? For the collision of different blocks, I was thinking that you could make each block have a number. For example, first block is 1 and then detect if a different number block is above them and stops it. Nah, that's... I don't think one should do it like that. I can explain to you gladly how we do it, or like how do I do it in a second. Now, what part is not working correctly? Oh, it's the part where I didn't have connected it to power. Yeah, but that's, I mean, that's the issue that we already solved beforehand. So I have this one and then this one back. And we should absolutely change that in the editor so we don't need to fix it a third time. And that's, children, why you fix things right as they occur. Because the stupid human brain won't remember things for 2 seconds. Or at least that is my stupid human brain, I guess. Okay. So. Now. Reset. And make sure it's actually reset. Spawn in a piece, or like start the game. Piece is there. We want to rotate. Okay, I think nobody has won. Because it is working, but not correctly. So as you can see, we have the piece. And now we rotate it left. And then we rotate it once again, but now it's back to the original piece. So it's only like alternating between the two. And the same goes for this one. Now it rotated right, and now it's just back at the first one. You decide who won. I guess the person that did say it wasn't working, because it's not perfectly working. So congrats Daddy D for being a doubter. Yeah, it's quite obvious, right? Isn't it? This connection is a bit empty. Could it be that? Now, the question is that the right way or is it reversed? Let's clear the board. Rotate. Roll, yes. Haha! Yes! Now we have all the directions going. Splendid. Cautious optimism. If it works right away, it's a pleasant surprise. If not, then it's just as expected. Yeah, that's every programmer ever. Oh no, it's not working. But I know why. It is working. But I don't know why. Nice, nice, nice. And look at that, we can finally have things organized. Had a few moments like, yeah, I can imagine. Nice, okay. So, the question is how the rotation should go. Should it be like this or should the buttons be reversed? Huh, yeah, there you go. So at some points I should disable the inputs. Because currently you can just like press left and right all the time as well as rotation, but there's obviously a critical window in between where the collision check steps in, and at that frame you shouldn't be able to move anything. But those are just small bugs that we don't run into if we just move a bit cautiously. This is so awesome! I'm happy. How are you going to do so when all the rows are filled? It clears them out of the game. Maybe when all X positioned on a row are occupied by a block, then you get rid of the... Exactly. We can actually showcase that. It makes things so much easier to showcase, but that's... Yeah, okay, yeah, we still need to have the one check where it looks if a rotation is actually valid. Because depending how the piece is rotated, you can obviously move it more left or right. There you go. Now it deleted the row. So say it's like this, and then we move it up to the side. Oh, okay. I was actually pressing a bit too fast, but you see, yeah. So that's obviously not valid. But those are future problems. I feel like now we can finally start to play some Tetris. Let's make the whole thing a bit faster. I hope you are as excited as I am. Oh wait, no. It's still missing one. Almost thought it didn't delete the row correctly. Now it should. There you go. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah, I think just that the two inputs are in the wrong way as I would expect them to be. So let's change them. That skipper, yeah. Very hype indeed. So, I think we can also do the pieces, and they should just be randomized. So we'll have memory cells as before. And for those familiar with Tetris, they know that there's kind of a bag, what it's called, where all the 7 pieces are in, and then it just like gets chosen out of the bag. So like every 7 pieces, it's all of them, and then after the bag is empty, they will get renewed, making sure that no piece is like falling twice, or like 3 times in a way actually. And there's also a good variety always. Do you already have it so if the space is full to the top, you lose, or I still... the old version had that one, but the new version doesn't have it in the moment, because as I said before, the top part I've connected, but I don't have it on currently, just to keep the frame rate low. That would obviously something that would go up there. It shouldn't be too hard. And we can go back once again to our drawings, just to see how everything's working. So we have kind of 2 types of memories. Originally we had both of them just with memory cells, and then the active memory I kind of changed. That was the thing that I was talking with you about beforehand. And then we have the static memory. And combine both of them together, and we'll have what's actually displayed. Why do we do this? Well, the falling piece, we want to have many different ways on that, right? We want to move it down, left and right, rotate it, but we don't care about the static pieces. So once the fallen piece has a collision downwards, it will then get saved into the static memory. And then inside of the static memory, there's a check if every single block in one row is occupied, as you said. And then if it's full, it will delete that row and move everything above down. There's still currently a bug if you clear more than one row at a time. So say you clear 2 rows, then it's a bit buggy. Have you ever thought about making the game? Oh, yes, yes, yes. I don't have a working version on it, but I think I once put like 2 days or so into it and had it roughly working, like a prototype version. So that's one of the ideas that I actually went a bit further with, instead of just putting it on my list like I did with Snake. And then the new thing about the active memory Beforehand, I was just using a lot of memory cells. And they would just like be on or off, right? They would contain the piece. And then I would have them arranged in a shift register way. I could move them down, the orange one, left and right. So that was the old way, but because it was arranged in a shift register, I would say, okay, now move them down. And then it would need to have an update tick, which would mean that you can't have inputs too close to each other. And every single update, it would check first down, and then afterwards it would check left or right if that was pressed. So meaning you couldn't press left and right at any moment. It would actually need the clock cycle to go to that check. And the way that I have it now is a bit different. So say this is the whole display. I have an X and a Y variable. And then they intersect at some point on the display, right? And wherever they intersect, I want to show the piece. And at first I thought, well, this is very easy to set up, I should do it this way. But if you think about it, okay, if it's only one light, yes, then it's very easy to set up. But our pieces are obviously like multiples, right? It's not just like one light. So therefore, I needed to expand this idea. So it's actually a sliding window of sorts. Like this. So like X and Y are a bit wider. And then inside of this window, I could have the piece. And then what this would allow me to is that I have this lookup thing that we've been working on. And it would just project whatever is in here onto this sliding window. And now the update for X and Y are independent of each other, because I can just move X and Y as much as I want left and right. And this screen will just adjust accordingly, because nothing is set in stone and always just relative to the X and Y values. Same thing with over here, where I can just change the piece itself and then it will change on screen as well. That's the thing with the buttons that we had before, and now we have replaced with the encoder. I hope that explanation was somewhat helpful and didn't confuse you even more. Active memory. So yeah. And then collision detection is just that we have a piece and then we just compare it to the static memory. Well, we obviously also have some pieces in there. Say something like this. And then there is an in-between layer, which is just a lot of logic gates that takes in the position of the active piece and then performs multiple checks in each direction. So like a check, how do I do this? Towards the left, towards the right, and then also downwards. And then if we overlay the static, well, almost something like this. Then we would see, okay, there are some collisions actually detected. Right over here and over here. So our piece couldn't move, would not be able to move right or move down. And that's how that works. I'm hoping they could add some type of moving floor, like a floor on wheels or mounted to the wall, and you could power it to move it. Certainly interesting ideas. Not sure how the base game of Rust could benefit from that, but more things to interact with I/O components is always interesting. So, to showcase everything on here, basically the sliding window thing is this whole wall and the other side. You see these go up, so that's the X. And then on the other side we have the Y, that is just like going in that direction. And then at some point they do intersect. That's where all these AND gates come in, and then they propagate through over here. Then in the back, this is our static memory, where the pieces get saved to. And you see all these colored wires, they go in this in-between layer. And the color wires are always corresponding to the different collision types. And that's what you see here as well. One collision type for left, one for right, for moving down, and one if it's just colliding at the position where it is currently. To be honest, I just want to have a moving shotgun trap. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Alright, much talk, much explanation. We wanted to go back and have randomized pieces. So we somehow want to have some kind of arrangement like this. Ooh. Do I actually have random switches in my editor? Yes, I do. I would not be able to tell if I actually had them or not. So that updates that, and then we have another one that actually pushes the update onto the memory cells. And then we put them into the toggle. Something along these lines. And then some point in the future I will replace this one with the actual bag mechanic, because I think it would be very nice to have that one. So that's that, and one more for the end switches. And then something like this should work. Put in enough power. Oh, this one was set up already. Here. Something is a bit weird. What value did the... How did that happen? I wanted it. Okay, I think that'll... There you go, okay. So, what's this? Nice. All right. This does seem to be working as we intended it to be. There's only one problem. If you remember, we have 3 bits, so we can have 2 to the power of 3 different outcomes, meaning we have 8 different outcomes, but we only have 7 pieces. So there's actually one invalid piece if we have it aligned like this. This is our invalid piece. That is, well, just the middle, no matter the orientation. So that's something we need to fix. So I guess we'll just say if those 2 are on, this one also needs to be on. Meaning we will get more line pieces actually. So, and switch. and put that one into the set. And hopefully now we won't get the invalid piece. I mean, looks good to me. Okay, then we'll do the same thing as before. Take this and try to recreate it in the editor. So right over here. Put this one on the other screen. Okay. So we start out with the memory cells. Put some power underneath. Given that you seem quite experienced yourself, Landon, what have you done with electricity so far, if you mind sharing with us? Those should be all pieces. I feel like I'm a bit stupid, don't I? I could have just copy and pasted, like, just save the circuit we made in game, and then read it inside my editor. But well, those are the ideas that always come too late. Maybe for the next time. Oh, it's not showing up. There you go. And then connect this one to that, and this one to that. Point 5. And then those are set to 200. We shall do the same for the memory cells. And then we can remove all of this. Oh yeah, and then we can't forget the one condition that we had, right? Where we said if those two are active, then the last one needs to be active as well. That's pretty much all the connections that we need. Just route power around. And yeah, it's obviously quite ugly in the moment, but that's something I'll come back later to. Five should be enough power. And 5 is also enough for this one, and that needs more. Oh. Okay, so we want to do this every time a new piece spawns in. It should be this connection, and luckily we still have one empty spot on there. So something like this, I would imagine. Oh. Also something we didn't change earlier. We fixed it in game, but not in here. And then we said the rotations are actually meant to be vice versa. Okay, is that everything? Well, hopefully, and if not, we will figure that out very soon. Six and a half seconds it takes now to write the whole JSON. Oh well. So let's once again feast on this visual spectacle that is deleting this whole thing. And every time I do it, my PC, my fans are just like blowing up. That's just one downside still in the game, or like I guess more a problem of my graphics and CPU, that it's so laggy and takes so long at times, but well, it's not a common Rust issue, right? Have you seen anybody else before complain that 10,000 components is not performance optimized anymore? Well, I guess not. Oh well. So I think I'll just keep those for now, because they are making it quite easy to demonstrate how some pieces work in the future. And well, I would have liked to put down a TC, but as long as it's still deleting, I obviously cannot do that. Okay. So that's that done, and let's paste in the new one. And now we have the same question as before. Will it be working out of the box, or will there be some mistakes again? The more likely answer is there will be some mistakes again, but it's always quite interesting to bet on the thing that is a bit more unlikely, isn't it? Maybe at some point I could figure out a way where I can update things in real time, don't have to destroy and delete everything. But then I would somehow need to have a connection directly from my Unity to the server. Of course, actually, I was thinking because maybe the entity IDs get updated, but the majority actually should stay the same, depending on how the copy and paste plugin does things. Something to look in a more quieter second. Alright, so hopefully that's everything. We have this one up and running. And it does show the correct piece. So that's a good thing. These are at 0, so let's see what happens if we press start. Okay, so far so good. It's the piece that we expect. We can rotate it. Perfect. But it's still the same. Does this one get activated? Yes. But apparently some part isn't going through. 4 power is the right amount to the splitter. And 10 should be enough to power this one as well. So then the question is, why aren't they toggling? Let's set this one to a higher number. Hey. I just changed you. Oh no. Okay. Now I'm apparently pushing more updates than the server can handle. Great. So let's slow things down and hopefully I don't get kicked. Please. Alright. That's the screensaver. Okay, and now it's load down. Good. Now we can debug. What's wrong? Oh, this one's set to 5, and that's why I did a miscalculation. Okay. That might have been all. Because my editor automatically sets new branches to 5 instead of 2. I just noticed that that is a bit more easier to work with in most applications. And then say normal speed. Wait, this one is the other way around, right? That's the J shape. Yo, we have a different piece. Let's go. And we should be able to rotate this one as well. Let's go. Oops. Wrong speed. Okay, another long one. Yes, and another piece again. But so far we only got 3 different pieces. We didn't get the S or the Z shape, and neither did we get the T or the square. Okay, so that hopefully it's only something that was up to chance. Now we see them again, and this one we can also rotate as expected. Whoa, dude, you figured out the rotation! Yes, I did! Thanks for checking an audio file. Okay, once again this one. Oh, we actually cleared a row. Give me the S or the Z, please. I want to see it in action. This is now really starting to feel like Tetris, not gonna lie. Oops! Hold up, wait a second, what piece is that? That is... Just stop. No, I said stop! Oh man. Too bad. Okay, okay, that piece was broken apparently. Let's reset and maybe we get it once more. Is this spawning of the first piece? Oh, there it is. Okay, so slow down. Which one is it? It should be the square, okay? Which is this. And there we see it doesn't have enough power. But why? It might actually be that I didn't set that one correctly. So now it has enough power, and we see it's this square. Would you like this? So let's just change this one in here. So set this one to 15. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so now we have this square as well. The rare 2-block piece. Sick, but does it rotate? Yes. Technically, it does rotate, but visually, well, it doesn't do anything. Oh, did the game choke? Or the clock, shall I say? Let's restart the clock. Ooh. And it by doing that, it accidentally changed the piece. Nice. Okay, so that's one of them. And now we just need to... Yes! Now we saw every single piece working. Nice. Haha. That's how randomness goes, right? The first few dozen pieces, you don't see them at all, and then they come all in one go. Oh, we can squeeze that one in over here. So let's do it like this. There you go. This is so awesome. I'm so happy that everything is working and we didn't have to go through any debugging phase for like extended amounts of time. Dang man, great jobs. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's only one step closer to the finished game, but just visually speaking, it's probably one of the best steps. That's why I thought. I knew the complexity of it wouldn't be that great. Like, look at those circuits, they are not too big. And I knew like, okay, this is something I can figure out on stream and should be fairly easy to connect to the main game. Oh no, stop it before it's getting out of hand. It already got out of hand. There you go. Nice. That is pretty much everything that I wanted to accomplish today. That's awesome. And then you can think like what I said before. The only actual things determining the piece are these 5 memory cells. So if we have another pair of 5 memory cells and make it so we can switch from one to the other back and forth, we can basically have the next piece shown and change them just with one button press. And I think that will be the task the next time I'll be streaming. Not entirely sure when that will be. So don't want to set that in stone just yet. But I certainly hope that you'll be there as well. But for now we still have a surprise going on. So Rust in Rust, when? The best in the game. Oh, yeah. So I will just disconnect and go actually onto another server in the meantime as we speak. Because the thing that I have prepared is on another server. So, disconnecting. And while connecting, I can actually... Okay, Streamlabs OBS is having some problem. It won't let me change the text. Oh, well. Okay. Oh no, now it's... So, we did the update in the beginning. I gave you the electric news, and we made some progress on Tetris. We managed to get rotation working. Can I put in tabs? No, it's only spaces. Oh well. Oops. This, okay. Rotation working, and then also different pieces spawning. And now only the surprises. Good, good, good. I hope this stream was more enjoyable than the other ones, just given how I try to pack in more things in less time, if that makes sense. Make them a bit more exciting. And I also hope that that is coming through in the VOD. That in this way, people might be a bit more interested in watching those as well. Almost connected. Because I always have a project in the back, right? Always on my private server where I'm putting in the work. So currently that is Tetris. Beforehand it was the calculator, like the big next project. But on top of that, there are always like some kind of events coming up. I might play a normal wipe with some people, or a competition might be up on the horizon again. So these things are on top, and for this wipe I decided to play with some very wonderful people. Alright, spawned in. Looking good. There we are in game. And it's actually night time currently. Oops, wrong door. So it's a bit less obvious what it's supposed to be in the dark. But let's go to the entrance and I will tell you what it is about. Oh, no way. Just when I needed it, the neon sign isn't lit up. Oh well. So it should say Rustic Reef, which it doesn't at the moment. And what it is, it's an amusement park set up by a lot of wonderful people, namely Da Vinci, Monstera and Silver Fox, as well as me. So you might have heard their names because they were also featured in the last community update next to my calculator. And they are really great at painting. Like, look at those. This one was the cover art actually from the last community update. That's where you might have seen it, and it was made by Monstera. And then we have this small village or residential area. But most importantly, we have this side over here. Let me double check something. Why is it not lit up? Did somebody press the switch when they were not supposed to? Yes. Okay. So now it should be a bit more obvious what it is. It's an arcade. Once again, I decided to make an arcade hall. Well, less of a hall, more as an open air arcade. And so far we have Dance Dance the Rust Illusion and Whack-A-Mole. And this is the most recent one that I'm currently working on. And more will be coming as the month progresses. And for the ones who watched my video on the automated arcade hall, they most likely will recognize these two, as I did do them before. So Whack-A-Mole is quite easy. You just have the neon signs and corresponding buttons, and then you need to press them in time. And you also have a score. That's what the counter is for. And as you just saw, it counts up every time you get something right. And the game will get progressively faster, meaning it will also get quite a lot harder. So that is one arcade game. And if you wait too long, and the other one is Dance Dance Revolution. Ooh, somebody got a good score. 186. So you have these panels and they correspond with one of the panels over there. And when you start the game, there will be arrows coming down. And your job now is to step on the right one at the right time. And just like the other game, it will also speed up and get faster. So that was the other thing that I've been working on for the last week or so. And I'm really proud with how these rooms turned out. Especially the other one is even a bit better looking. And I think each of the games took me like 5 to 6 hours or so to set up, so good amount of time, but luckily my friend Da Vinci has some powers on the server to give me most of the resources that I need, so if I would have needed to farm them as well, it would have costed me way more time. But this way it's very nice. Oh, and now that's actually not night time anymore, but lit, we see a bit more of the scenery around us and the buildings. Almost as it was on command, the ship is also coming by. How big is damage? Do you need help? I can help. Oh wait, what? No, nothing is damaged. And hello Monstera, so one of the very awesome people that work on this project. Actually the one who does all the artwork that I just showed you. And then over here we have a secret project by Da Vinci that is still worked on. But the good thing is, from on top we see all of this. Isn't that beautiful? Oh. Hello, hello. Yeah, we are pretty much at the end of the stream, but I wanted to share this surprise with everybody. Just to let them know what I've been also working on, and maybe there will be a video about all of this. And then we'll see Silver Fox and Monstera in action as they set up all these wonderful things. Made splendid fireworks and even more art. So yeah, I think that's all for today. If you still have any last minute questions, feel free to ask them now. And I guess otherwise we'll see each other again either in game or in the next stream. Yeah, so to recap what we did today, we started out with just looking at what I did in Tetris. I gave you a small update on everything happening, explained a few bits here and there. Then we went over the electric news, the huge news this week that came out of nowhere, took us by surprise, and now every electrician is so hyped for them. It's probably the biggest change to electricity in a few years, and it might be the start of Rustricity 2.1, if one would consider that. So very welcome changes incoming. Then we started work on Tetris again. We actually implemented the rotation and different pieces spawning. I set up an encoder so we have all the different pieces and rotations for every single one as a kind of lookup table. And we combined that with the existing Tetris, so now everything is connected and also working. And then we had this wonderful surprise at the end. With that being said, I hope you had a wonderful, or dare I say, splendid stream. And I see you in the next one. Splendid.